whoever, if you're doing that, if you're perceiving someone different based off of the inability of someone else, that is a dumb way to
That's
talk about
sports,
basketball.
though.
The reason
I don't care.
because you won.
Y'all are arguing something because it already existed. That's the reason why we should keep doing it. That is a definition of stupidity.
And you guys were talking about winning bias and how much y'all hate it, and then like all the people just sat there and agreed and said nothing. I was like, bro, this is disgusting. Because I think what happened, someone said if Karl Malone won those 2 championships, he'd be a top 10 player of all time.
That was true.
And then you guys like, no,
That's
blah,
crazy.
blah, blah.
What?
I'm like, obviously, I wouldn't say top 10, but he would be.
Wait,
you see the regard he's held in right now.
Fault.
97.
The one that-
98.
the
Yeah, the 2
97,
against the
98.
Bulls. The 2 against the
Well, what if
Bulls.
he went to the final? Yeah, that one.
Bro,
Yeah,
we
like,
don't know
come
that,
on.
but I'll tell you one thing: he'd have a fucking
Oh my.
strong consideration.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
and you guys were saying like, no, it doesn't make any sense, blah 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 blah. And I was like, what? I was like, that makes complete sense because when you guys win, because what's the point of like playing basketball? It's to win, and so like people get elevated from these things. It's like if Jokic never won this year and he didn't win from like here and on, no one would care about him. He'd be like Steve Nash. He'd be like,
Those people are
you didn't
dumb
win.
though.
Yeah,
Those people
no
are
one
dumb.
caring about him.
No,
That's
no,
that.
no,
those
but I'm
people
saying
are
that's
dumb.
I
but
hate
I'm saying
this
that's how
argument.
basketball. That's how basketball
It
works.
shouldn't
What
work
are you
though,
playing
but it
for?
shouldn't work. though.
What are you
It shouldn't
playing
work
for?
though.
Then why are
The
you
thing
playing
is,
basketball?
the thing is,
This
you're
is
producing.
the point is
production.
because I'm the one who was making this argument.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
We play basketball to win. Anyone who plays a team sport, you're still
Yeah.
playing with the goal to win.
Yep.
The issue is, I'm not going to elevate you because you won and this guy didn't win, knowing that you aren't the only factor for why your team won. Karl Malone doesn't all of a sudden become better than Hakeem or Bird or Magic. Whoever you have at 10, he doesn't automatically go above them because his team won the 97 and 98 finals if he plays the exact same level in the postseason his whole career. That doesn't make him a better player. He's just won because now John Stockton stepped up or because Jerry Sloan decided to make some adjustments to his illegal defense abusing offense. Does that make him better? I don't think so.
Or
No,
somebody
so
on the
answer
opposing
this.
team played worse.
Like,
doesn't
that's
go
not
like your
him
skill
getting
set.
better.
No.
So me elevating him based on other people doesn't make sense to me. That's why
So answer this: how
Are
do
y'all
you
doing
rate
John
your players?
Stockton
Then?
again?
No.
So
Winning
Keem,
bias. Talk about
Winning bias.
So Keem,
Because-
I actually love the way, because I've been when I have
Cowboy. I'm feeling like a cowboy.
Mars brought up a great.
Shut up, Dub, stop!
Cowboy
Don't you
TikTok
ever do
song?
that again, Dub. Don't ever do that again.
What happened? I missed it.
Cowboy TikTok
doing that
song.
for free is crazy.
Doing that for Dub did the whole the TikTok lady.
Don't do that. Don't do
No,
that.
don't.
Chill out. Chill. Please chill.
Wait, the
OG
NPC
shit?
stuff?
You
You guys wonder why I called him Lamar Odom.
Anyway, I was saying that
what were you saying? Yeah,
the way I like the way Mars framed it like about 3 days ago. Because I think it's the
Ice
best
cream's
way
so good.
to evaluate players. If we're doing an all-time, this is how I do like my kind of a top 10 list. If you're doing an all-time draft, right? And I could have this player's production because outcomes of the team can vary if you run a simulation, right? But you can you can at least surmise that a player would produce what they would produce regardless of the team they're on. If I can get that player's production on my franchise for the duration of their tenure in the league, plus or minus 3 years, given specific situations, who would you draft first on your team? And that's why I have LeBron as a goal. Because if I had LeBron for 20 years with this production, given an equal distribution of teams, like everyone has a relatively the same rosters, right? I'm going to win probably more or have a more successful franchise than most other players I would draft first all time. So that's kind of I like the way you phrase that.
That's cool. But so my point is how do you rank these players? Because if you're not winning, then like that diminishes you. Like take Carmelo Anthony. He has an amazing skill set. Obviously, he can't really play make like that, but his scoring ability is amazing. But he never won, so no one cares about Carmelo Anthony. He's not put in any high regard and on any list. How are you supposed to make your all-time list or like who's like ranks there if you don't take winning into account?
You want to hear something crazy?
Yeah.
Carmelo's just not as good as other people. That's it. It's
I
not
was
because
just saying, I was giving an example.
Carmelo, Tracy McGrady, anyone who hasn't won, I hear these examples all the time because Kevin Durant is one that gets brought up a lot because they don't count his rings and they say if you take away accolades, Kevin Durant is a top 5 player. No, he's just not as good as these other people. Carmelo Anthony is a tremendous scorer. He's also an egregious defender, an
Yeah.
egregious passer, and an egregious playmaker. He has holes in his game. And if those holes in his game are the reason why he didn't win,
Thank you for the rose.
sure. If those reasons,
yeah.
oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh,
If
please.
those holes in his game are the reason why he didn't win, that is fine. But the reason he's not held higher isn't because he didn't win. It's because he's actually not as good as
Actually,
the eye test people would point him out to be. He's just not
so
that
how
good.
about this
That's
player?
the-
You guys love him, Steve Nash.
Mhm,
He won those 2 MVPs. That great system. Never won. Never made it to the finals even.
mhm.
So like, how? And so everybody hates this guy. What earlier on PC when you guys talking about is he a generational? Bro, the comments were going crazy talking about like Steve Nash. This guy sucks. And see,
Yeah,
like if he
people
won
don't
one of those
like Steve
championships,
Nash.
he'd be way
Oh,
higher.
People don't like
wrong.
Steve Nash, and then I'm here saying
Yeah.
he's one of the best offensive players that's ever existed, despite the fact he hasn't won. And the reason they didn't win is A, they ran into a great Spurs team, and B, the team's defense just wasn't that good. And the reason their defense wasn't that good is A, Steve Nash wasn't a good defender, and B, they were running Amari Stoudemire at the 5, and their pick and roll coverages were
Man.
rudimentary at best. There's many reasons why they didn't win.
Suspension.
It goes into the fact that the West was stacked, the Spurs were a better team, their defense wasn't good, and then in 07 when they had their best shot, some questionable suspensions. And whether or not they would have won is neither here nor there, because they might not beat the Spurs, they might have still lost to the Jazz in the conference finals. Who knows? But there's many
completely
reasons why they
understand
didn't
why
win.
they
I'm not
lost.
just gonna say Steve Nash just isn't as good
Can
as
I
the MVP
chime on
say.
this next?
What's
Okay,
going on?
so my thing is, if somebody wins a championship, that just doesn't erase their skill set. If somebody has legitimate flaws in their game, a championship just doesn't put a little eraser blemish on that. Like my favorite player, Russell Westbrook. If Russell Westbrook wins a championship, somehow that doesn't erase
Not
his
happening.
bad shot IQ and stuff like that. It's still there. It doesn't erase that.
Speaking of
So-
that, we're gonna have a real
Actually-
conversation about Giannis in 2 years.
Yeah, I was about to say Giannis because
We're
you
gonna
guys
have a real conversation
he's
about
won
Giannis in
A1B
2
with
years. I
Jokic.
told y'all about that
Because
run.
of that one
I
ring.
told
That
y'all
one
about
ring
that
is the only
run.
reason why he's up there. If he didn't win that,
but
then-
the one year in which he went on the ring, one of the problems that he had was just his shooting. He had by far his best shooting season.
that-
And so
he
what
was knocking him
tends
down.
so what tends to happen is that some of these players, when they win, they do actually perform. That thus translates to the winning, right? So again, going back to the Karl Malone argument, your argument, and this is why I just don't. And we've asked this to Chilltown several times, and he's just been inconsistent with this answer. I don't care how he wants to frame it. There's been time if Michael Jordan doesn't get the steal on the baseline on Karl Malone, they're going to win that game and win that series. But Karl Malone did the exact same thing. Does now all of a sudden Karl Malone look different as a player because Michael Jordan didn't make a play or because Michael Jordan missed a shot?
He will be.
Is he-
perceived
is he-
different.
Yes,
Okay, but
actually, yes.
okay,
I can explain
okay,
why.
and,
I can
and
absolutely-
that is,
It
boy, I
happened.
want to be clear. That's
Mhm.
stupid. Whoever, if you're doing that, if you're perceiving someone different based off of the inability of someone else, that is a
It's-
dumb way to
that's
talk
not the
about
reason.
basketball.
The
That's
reason,
sports,
the
though.
reason.
I don't
is
care.
because you won.
Y'all are arguing something because it already existed. That's the reason why we should keep doing it. That is a definition of stupidity. That's what that
All
is.
right, all right. So listen. So Jason
Insanity,
Tatum's game,
actually.
when he
I
was
don't think it's
complete
the actual
garbage
definition of
the whole
stupidity.
game. But
Ah,
then he made those few shots at the end of the game. That was a good game now, right? Because everyone said he won the game, so it's a good game now. If they didn't win that game, everyone's crapping on him because they lost that game because how badly he plays. That's why the fact that you win completely changes how.
But your
all of it is perceived.
but your argument is through the lens of perception. I'm not a bot, so I don't care about how other people perceive them. I'm talking about
Well,
what I
that's how
actually
we rank
saw.
players because we have to.
No,
perceive
that's
them to be able to
me.
remember.
No. We stop. You are a bot.
Okay,
You're a
okay.
bot.
So your top 10.
You're
you
saying
call
the
it-
masses
I'm gonna
do
call
something,
you
so
a
that
bot.
means it's right. That's
And
what
so
you're
you're
saying.
saying,
You're a
it's
bot.
purely based off of skill set. Bro, talk with arguments, not insults. Shut up. So
I'm not
everything you
insulting.
said
I'm just
is
saying
based off
you're
of
saying the masses do something, so it makes it correct. That's what you're saying.
no, that's whatever. Anyways, but so your top 10 is purely based off of skill set, not about any of their accolades or
How
or
good,
they're
how
winning
good
and
you
none of
were,
that
how
stuff.
long you were good for, and how impactful you were.
We've been
That's-
speaking
that's
about
why.
this for like the last year. I don't know how this is like.
Yeah,
gone
but
over
hey,
people.
because then they ask me, "Oh, why isn't KD top
Because
5?" His
the thing
skill
is,
set.
winning matters though. That's the thing. It
No
matters.
one's saying. No one's not
Which
saying
is
winning
why.
doesn't.
But-
no one's not
no,
saying
but-
winning doesn't matter. It's a team sport. There's so
Well,
many
can I ask
other
you-
variables
Because
that
winning-
go
because
into
my,
it.
my thing is winning bias exists, and I don't think it's a bad thing because
It is
winning is the point of the
110% a
sport.
bad thing.
The only way. Let me be clear because
winning
Mars.
is the point of the sport.
And no,
Yes,
that's fair.
winning
But it's far.
Is the
It's fair.
point of the sport, but it shouldn't change your view on somebody's skill set. Just because when I was
No,
growing
my
up, I
skill
was
set. No, their skill set isn't changing.
You guys gonna-
I'm just
yeah.
saying. the skill set isn't changing because they won. But the thing is, if your skill set doesn't lead to winning, then what's the point?
Okay, I have a question, and it's going to be
Okay.
entirely hypothetical, but it's a question. Who's your goat?
Yeah.
Who do you have as your goat?
My goat would be LeBron James, but that's only
Okay.
because I
No,
honestly
I don't need
Yeah.
to know why. It's just
Okay.
follow me. LeBron
Yeah.
James is your goat based on
Static.
whatever reasons you have. That's fine. If
Yeah.
LeBron James played his whole career and his teammates were me, Dub, Low, and you, and he wins absolutely nothing, has LeBron James got worse at basketball?
like, I guess it would have.
He got
So
worse
But the
at
reason-
basketball.
No,
Okay, how he
uh-uh.
plays. The thing is, no. Listen, can I explain?
Yes, you
Because
can.
why he got worse is because his skill set and everything that he did not lead to winning. If your skill set doesn't allow you to win, then I'm sorry, it's worse than whoever.
Is it
the
his
other guy.
skill set or the fact that he's playing with me, Dub, Low, and
I'm
you?
about to say we've already
Okay,
acknowledged.
okay, hold on.
I'm about to say we acknowledge that his
Yeah.
skill set does lead to wins. Is that if
Yeah,
the teammates
exactly.
got worse? No, I'm saying, but the teammates
Got
get
it.
worse around him. That doesn't mean
Mhm.
that his skill set doesn't translate to wins. It's that his teammates aren't good enough to aid him in the process of winning.
Oh yeah, because obviously
who do you
it's a
have-
team sport. I completely understand that. And so
No,
you also
okay, so
you need
then- do you
good,
have-
really
do you
good,
have-
good.
Do you have Harden?
So this is what.
playing-
Hold
do you
up,
have
time
Harden-
out, because this is what people do, and it angers me because they do it for football and they do it for basketball.
Not yet.
And
They're
just be-
different.
No, I'm
Yeah.
I'm about to explain it to you why
Yeah.
it's relatable. Because football, they don't, for all the positions in football, they don't care about anything about winning besides the quarterback position. You don't need to win to be a great wide receiver. You don't need to be a winner to be a great tight end. You don't need to win to be a great cornerback, D tackle, defensive
Running
end. It
back.
doesn't matter. But because the quarterback position, and this is just a wrongful thing that the masses do, because they have more like responsibility to winning compared to everyone else, they penalize them more than all the other positions because of that. When in reality, it is true that they are more responsible than everyone else, but it is still minuscule. The whole team winning, it's still probably a 10 to 15% responsibility that those guys have compared to all the other
They
factors
are
and layers
different
that goes
sports,
into.
though, Dub.
No, let me finish. And I'm about to land. So the reason why I'm bringing this up, because in basketball, because they keep giving you this talking point of, oh yeah, well basketball is the one sport where one player could decide a lot, which is true, more compared to any other sport. But that even though that is true, the whole end goal of them winning is still affected by more other factors apart from that player's skill set and those players' attributes and those players themselves. Even if it's 15 to 20%, there's things like luck, there's things like injuries, there's things like your players showing up, there's things like the team that you're going up and matchup based, because it's matchup dependent as well. And everyone who doesn't say that is a liar, because you going through an easier road compared to other guys does matter when you're winning. Chris Webber, in the Kings, they kept running into Kobe and Shaq and losing to those guys, but that was still a great team. So it's there's too many other factors and layers that goes into winning other than these guys' skill set.
And Dub, to actually support your point, is because it's like it's always become that point becomes more apparent while watching NBA Finals, because you'd be like, as great as Jokic is, as great as Jamal Murray is, Aaron Gordon getting 25 points, Christian Braun giving, like, you need those other guys, 8th, 7th, 6th guys to step up and play, and sometimes the other team doesn't have it, even though that superstar is playing to a high level. So,
I completely.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. So I completely agree with everything you guys are saying, and so my argument isn't like against like those things exist, because they're completely valid. It's just that because obviously winning bias is a thing, and we all know it. But I'm saying that I think it's not a bad thing, because winning is the point of the sport, and so obviously there's other factors that go into actually winning, but you still have to actually get there, and so that's how we're able to like determine who's where and how good they are, because obviously your skills go into effect, but because basketball, you can control so much of it. Like, yes, there's other factors, but you can control so much of it. There are carry jobs. Carry jobs happen all the time. Obviously, they might not win like by themselves. I don't think this may be like trying to think if it's actually happened, but
can't win by yourself.
you can. But I'm saying you can control so much by yourself. That's why you actually winning. is like put more on like the one person. Even though yes, it takes a collective with a great coach and good role players and everyone around them. But the fact that you control so much of it, that's why I take that more into account than actually like football players, because it's such a huge more people who contribute to what's actually happening.
Did you listen to anything I said?
Of course, I listened to what you said.
So what I said was that's you literally just prove what, bro. What I said was because basketball, there's more responsibility compared to other sports. I said that's why they have this winning bias tag. I'm saying even though that is true, it's still a wrong mindset to have, because that person's skill set and talent is probably 15 to 20% worth of them winning compared to all the other layers. And if we're really gonna negate guys as players, if it's I said 15 to 20, if we're negating players for 15 to 20 for being 15 to 20% responsible for winning, that's fucking stupid. When do we do that? When do we penalize people? When do we penalize people for being 15 or 20% responsible for something? When do we do that? Give me an example. Give me an example. When do we penalize people for being responsible for 20% of something?
I'm not gonna.
It's the player choice way. Yeah, them boys don't get it started. The player choice way. You're the player choice way. Come and switch lanes into the player choice way.